All right, so I think the final polls are
Fox
in.
News alert, it's 8 o'clock and polls have closed in New Jersey. The Fox
man.
News decision desk believes the governor's race in the Garden State is close. Democratic candidate Mikey Sherrill leads.
54.5 to
The Fox News decision
45.3.
desk can also project that Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become the next governor of Virginia.
Oh, bro.
Spanberger defeats Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears.
Oh, no.
Let's bring in Fox News
I know a lot of people are going to be really upset about that.
And the anchor of The Story, Martha McCallum. Were you surprised, Brett, that was called
I'm actually kind
early?
of surprised about that.
No,
but
it's a
DC's
purple
in that
state,
area.
but it's bluish purple. Winsome Earl Sears did close the gap heading into Election Day, but
Earl Sears is a
there was a
Marine.
Democratic push. She was a decent candidate to begin with. She had some stumbles because of the Attorney General's race, which, by the way, we haven't called yet.
I think
Jay Jones,
Spanberger
although he is seeing
was a former
increase
CIA
in the polls, the numbers that we're seeing.
Was a former
but because
CIA
of that, I think there was a stumble and a belief
agent.
that Winsome Earl Sears could close the gap. Too little, too late. And Abigail Spanberger will become the first female governor of the Commonwealth.
That's
She was the person that Democrats
First
said,
female
listen,
governor.
this is a moderate. She's going to be the example for Democrats going forward. Republicans said
Good
she
thing I
wasn't
live in
a moderate.
Nancy.
She voted with Nancy Pelosi almost all the time.
Yeah, we saw that crash. We're going to talk about that, too.
But she will become the next Virginia governor.
But this
That's
race
crazy.
for AG, where the guy says
I didn't expect that.
he wanted to kill Republican kids, we can't call that yet.
I mean, to be fair, she had Obama campaigning for her, which is, still wild. I think he's the only I think he's the only former president, and maybe Clinton, that still goes out and campaigns for other people.
Are you surprised?
Although I'm sure that by the time President Trump is retired, out of office, that he'll probably campaign for people too. Potentially, I don't know.
That we haven't been able to call that yet. I mean, most people that I know would say, heck no with a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a percentage of Virginia voters who said that they found those comments concerning, but not disqualifying.
Spanberger.
And we saw that Spanberger really tried to just
What do we
sort
think
of
about that?
sidestep this whole issue. She was pressed upon
How
to
we feeling about that?
say that he should drop out of the race. I mean, it really lowers the bar
Yeah,
for
I did,
what
Clipper.
is
We're
required.
gonna take a look
I mean,
at that.
Think about the fact that Joe Biden once dropped out of a presidential race because there was some plagiarism in a speech that he gave. But this guy says that, this family should be killed, and that the children are fascists
they're
and they
talking
should
about-
be killed too. But
I think they're
the
talking
bar for
about-
all these things has changed
And the guy
dramatically.
with the Nazi tattoo hasn't dropped out.
He
the bar is
hasn't
so
either.
low now, you
That's
can
right,
basically do
that's right.
anything
I think they're talking about the guy that was running for Attorney General
and stay
of
in the
Virginia.
race.
I think.
She was asked about 4 times in that debate. Will you pull your endorsement? She didn't. And it was the easiest one would think.
Yeah, we heard about the plane
layup.
crash. We're going to talk
She
about
was
that.
in a political race, say, yes,
We're about to
I pull
look
my
into
endorsement.
it.
It's time to move on. But she was
Right after this.
it was like an albatross around her neck for the rest of that race, and that's why it was so close in the end.
That's
she
wild.
is going to pull this out
54%
in
is a lot.
decent majority margin, rather.
Well, let's see. They have 35% of the votes counted, and right now she's at 54.9 to 44.9 out of those 35%.
And Democrats are going to feel good about this. I think they have less to feel good about in New Jersey, which
Yeah,
looks
we'll
like
talk
it's
about the
tight.
plane
All right,
crash.
so it's tight in New Jersey. This is a state that
It's tight in New Jersey.
Harris, I think, beat Donald Trump by about 6 points.
Interesting.
He didn't spend any money there. And this guy, Chitterelli, had done well last time against the incumbent, Bill Murphy. It's too close to call.
Is it too
What
close
does
to
that
call,
tell you?
really?
Well, this is the third time that Jack Chitterelli has
Is it
run
too close
for
to call?
governor. The first time he didn't make
You
it
guys
to
think
the
it's too
primary.
close to call?
The second time, as you pointed out, he came within 3 points of Phil Murphy. Nobody has held
Where's
the
Phil
same
Murphy
party
at?
governorship in New Jersey since 1961, which would indicate, the historical trend is
Wow.
that it's time for it to flip to the GOP this time around. We've certainly had a number of Republican governors in New Jersey, but this is very close. And Cheryl, also weathered a bit of...
I always think to myself, I wonder why New Jersey, has had they've had Democrat as a governor for a good bit of time, I want to say, other than Christie. I think Christie's the last one, but he was super moderate.
of a storm when it came to the cheating scandal at Annapolis. Chitterelli really tried
Sharpshooter,
to hang
I'm
that
sorry.
on her in a negative light. Whether or not
3
it
dead,
stuck with
11
her.
injured.
And the
Oh my
insider
God.
trading
Yeah,
allegations,
we're going to talk
too.
about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wasn't very graceful in wiggling out of those. What are your people in New Jersey telling us, Martha?
Our people in New Jersey. You know, I mean, I do sort of.
You guys got people
I
in
go
New Jersey?
running around town. I see where the signs are. It is interesting in areas
saw
that
the
are,
sign.
sort of working class neighborhoods in New Jersey. You have seen.
All
a
right,
lot
so
of
right now Cheryl's at 78.4 and Cittarelli is at 20.5, and that's just 2% of the votes in.
Chitterelli signs. It has felt that he had the
They're
momentum.
saying that it's up in the
but
air.
whether or not, the New Jersey machine will prevail tonight, that's what we're about to find out.
And we had Barack Obama
Yeah, it looks like they're calling it for Spanberger though for Virginia.
had to fly in
Pretty
all the way
wild.
from Hawaii to save both of these women.
That's right. He went to Virginia and to New Jersey. He did not go to New York City.
But he did make a phone call.
He did make a phone call,
guy.
said he was really,
That's an interesting thing. He didn't go to New Jersey and he did not endorse Mamdani.
touching on important
very
issues,
interesting.
but didn't do an official endorsement. I think
Very
obviously the big race
interesting.
that has sucked up all the oxygen is the mayor's race here in New York City, and
Yeah,
that
the mayor's
could
race, bro.
maybe
Oh
have
my
an effect in
God.
New Jersey.
Oh
because
my
people in New Jersey
God.
look at New York City and say, "What happens there?"
Bro,
mean something
I'm
for us.
so glad
Do
I don't
you
live
really
in New
think
York.
that if Mondami wins,
Yo,
that it could
Sharpshooter,
have
appreciate the
repercussions
subby,
in New
boy.
Jersey? Martha, you know New Jersey better than any of us here at this table.
It's true. She
Well,
does.
we both live there, but you and I both live there.
I was born there. I just want to say.
Born
Okay,
there.
good.
He's also
I
he
mean,
has
strong.
Jersey roots as well. It's interesting
Fix
to
the
see if
ad
you get a
problem. There we
counterbalance
go.
vote if people in New Jersey sort of turn out to try to balance Mamdani in the
Oh,
mayor's
Clipper,
race. I
that's
also
Jesus,
think that
dude.
the other person who's watching this very closely is Elise Stefanik, because I think
Yeah,
if
we'll have to
Mamdani
see.
wins in New York,
There's probably a press
she may
conference
feel,
about it.
Hochul wants to be governor, to stay governor there, but Mamdani
New
didn't
footage
even
came out
endorse
that Crash looks
Hochul.
terrible.
Right.
She endorsed him, and he won't endorse her because she
Damn,
refuses
dude.
to raise taxes in this state, which is going to be a problem for
So
him.
we're not giving Mondani the win, but if he does win, Brett, what kind of damage if he teams?
I think we can all agree that Mamdani's probably going to win, and become the next mayor of New York City. I think that's what it definitely looks like. I might be wrong, but that's what it seems like.
up with Kathy Hochul, could those two do in the state of New York?
So interestingly,
see.
the New York
We'll
City mayor
see.
doesn't have as much power as the New York governor.
Right.
So she would almost be a check if she wanted to be to the New York City mayor.
Does she want to be?
When she was on that
a good
stage, it
question.
didn't look like it. When she
Does
was
she
holding up
wanna
his
be?
hand,
It's a very
but
good
she has
question.
said to other people and reporters that
Trying to
that's what
say
she
that
would do.
she's
It's
gonna
not
kinda
good enough.
keep
If he does
Mamdani in
win,
check.
and we don't know. I mean, who knows? Those polls close at 9
New York
p.m.
City always picks
we'll
the worst.
See. It's the
I
biggest
don't know, man.
turnout we've seen in
Rudy
2
Giuliani
decades
was
in
the
New
mayor
York
back
City
in
for a mayor's
the
race.
early
So,
2000s, and
that
he
could
cleaned
mean good
a
things
lot
for
of
Cuomo.
people
But
that I know
if
said he
if
cleaned
he
up the
wins,
city.
Hochul will be in a much weakened position.
Of course, I wasn't
against the
really
Republican
invested or
nominee,
knew
like
anything
Elise
about
Stefanik.
politics
And
at
are
the
you
time, so I
thinking
didn't follow any of
people
the
in
stuff that he
New
did.
York
But
City
that's just
are
from people that
calculating this. Well, I don't
I know
like
that live there.
Cuomo, but I might have to vote for him.
Yeah. Everybody I know that lived in New York City during the time when Rudy Giuliani was there said that he cleaned up the city, and it was like the best shape it had been in for like decades. That's just from people I know that lived there at the time. I wasn't obviously involved in or interested in politics or anything like that at the time because I was far too young, but just didn't care at the time. It was like in high school, middle school.
Stop Mondani. How much of that calculation is happening?
I think one of the biggest.
Yeah, again, I don't know anything about Rudy. I don't know what kind of a person he is. None of that. I just know that a lot of the people I've talked to about it said that he cleaned the city up. Everybody I've talked to.
Questions is that percentage of Sliwa voters, because Trump came out and said, look, I don't really like either
we're gonna
of
talk
these
about that
main
plane here
candidates, but
soon.
if you should go for the worst Democrat rather than the communist, is what the president said. So those
worst
Sliwa voters
Democrat.
had to make a decision today when they went to the polls and figure out if they wanted to pull the
40%
lever
in,
for Sliwa,
55.1
or if they
to
were going to go over and
44.7.
do what the president asked them
Too
to do
close.
and vote for Cuomo. So watch
Soon.
the Sliwa
polls to
margins.
close soon.
Staten Island.
Oh, there
is
we go.
obviously a
Cheryl,
big
59.2 to
the only big conservative
Cittarelli,
stronghold in New York City.
40.3.
If his margins are lower
11%
there than
in.
they were last time around, that's something to keep an eye on.
Does the pseudo endorsement by Donald Trump of Andrew Cuomo help Andrew Cuomo?
I always
in a
wonder,
city
like,
like
how
New
they can
York, where
call
they just
it
tried to
when
throw
it's-
this president in prison?
The one thing I always wonder is, like, how can you call the race when like less than 50% of the votes have been counted? That's always something I thought was very interesting.
You know, this guy's like, oh, this is your guy. And then Mondami says, well, look,
You know what I'm saying?
Donald Trump's endorsing my opponent.
Yeah, it did give Mondami a talking point.
But it looks like they're calling it for Spanberger, the Democrat that was running for governor. But I mean, dude, I don't know.
Ahead of election day.
I don't know how
But
these
it
polls
also
work. I don't
may
know how
move some
like
Sliwa
solid that
voters
is.
off to vote for Cuomo. So the balance there is interesting to factor in. I think it was late. You know, it might have been earlier. Cuomo had to absorb a day of, look, he's Donald Trump's endorsed candidate. But at the same time, it probably moved some Sliwa voters.
Yeah, I don't know.